I had never been on a professional shoot in America before, and being on a professional porn shoot was even next level.
When I was just finishing my undergrad studies, I applied for a couple of internships, and I really wanted to get into this one organization that held after-school classes to teach school kids. The organization head sat me down, we had a good conversation, and she said she really liked me for this particular internship. She told me that if I had any issues with traveling to South Bombay schools, because I live in the suburbs. And I said that wasn't an issue at all. Towards the end of that interview, she asked me, can I just ask you one last question if you don't mind? And I said, sure, go ahead. And she said, are you willing to take off your hijab to teach these kids? And I was completely dumbfounded. I was just speechless. This is my first, foray into anything job related or, just into the real world for the first time. So I had no idea what to expect, and this was my first time hearing these words from someone. And I just asked her, but why does teaching kids require me to take off my hijab? And she said, their kids ask questions and the parents don't want their kids to be exposed to people like you. And I was just, again, I had nothing, speechless, absolutely speechless. And I said no. I just said no, even though I really needed that internship, I really needed the money.
In 2015, I got an internship to my college in one export firm. जो मेरा manager था, he started, calling me in his office, and he started treating me a little different. He was like my father's age. He was about 50, 55, and he used to ask me, random question, nothing related to my job. Do you have any boyfriend? Have you been on a date? I think we should go on a movie. Then next week he asked me, oh, give me your hand, show me your hand. I know how to read hands. And like a dumb girl, I gave my hand, look. And then he held my hand and he was starting doing this. Oh, I can see your hand. Oh, that's such a soft hand. And then I took it back because obviously it felt weird. And then at the end of the day, he used to tell me, don't tell this thing to anyone. I know this is wrong. This guy's touching is inappropriate, and the way he's talking is inappropriate. But मैं क्या बोलती अभी? It was my first internship. I didn't know what to do, or whom can I reach out? Whom should I tell that these things are happening to me? Because I don't want to feel victimized. I think people will put it on me and they will judge me and not the other person.
I really did not think they were going to call me back again. And I started applying for other internships, but I did actually get a call back about a week later, and they said, are you willing to join us for a school in Kandivali? And I was like, what happened to the school in South Bombay? The pay was a little less. And again, the job description was the same. The more I thought about it, I felt like I didn't want her to take away from this opportunity. And so I said yes. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences and one of the first best experiences.
When I was studying in America, I got a job at a production house. I had never been on a professional shoot in America before, and it was very exciting. I remember being picked up in the morning, early morning for the shoot, and we were driving about 3 hours away. Soon I just realized that the company's main division is making porn. It took me time to register this. I was sort of reserved coming from India, being 18, 19. I didn't want anyone to know. There was a lot of things that were going on in my mind, thinking that, my parents have sent me to America. Oh my God, I can't do porn. Oh my God, what is my professor going to think? There were so many things going on in my mind. Once I reached the film set, I was shocked about what was going on and how open everything was. I mean, there was the lead actress and the lead actor who was basically went at it pretty fast. And I was there shocked as to how everyone behind the scenes was so casual about it, and everyone was just like, oh, we need to cut this because we need to take another take. Oh, my focus is gone. It was like a normal shoot.
I used to intern at an agency in Mumbai and worked in the social media and branded content department. Typically, I would walk into the office and my manager would give me a list of duties. And one day, my manager is complaining that my head is hurting, and obviously we're all in one working space together. So we're telling her, hey, why don't you take some medicines, drink some water. And then she turns around to me and is like, Shivani, can you massage my head? And I was like, what? I immediately told her, no ma'am, that's not a part of my duties, I don't feel comfortable doing that. So then she turns around to the other intern and is like, if Shivani's not gonna massage my head, can you massage my head? And she was like, okay, and she obliged. And so in front of the entire office, I'm witnessing my fellow intern massaging my manager's head. No one thinks it's a red flag or is like, hey, this is inappropriate, or hey, like, you shouldn't be doing this. And they were like, hota hai aise, like, what's the big deal? It was 5 minutes. Why are you creating such a big ruckus about it? After this happened, I went to the other intern and I was like, why did you do that? Like, why did you say yes? You should have just said no. And her response was, Shivani, if I said no, what if I got fired?
I was scared of going to office. After a point, I got so frustrated that I stopped going into his cabin. Whenever he used to call me, I used to say like, you've given me some work, I have to complete it. After ignoring him for a month, he, I think, noticed that, yeah, I'm not giving him bow. Yeah, then ego ko to lag jata hai. So, then he called me in his office and he was like, Zeel, it was really nice working with you, but I don't think we need your services anymore. And then I didn't say anything, I just left the organization.
The fact that you think that not massaging someone's head means that there's a chance of you getting fired is so messed up. Like, that should not be a prerequisite towards your job performance or towards your intern evaluation.
It really did make me feel like I was doing something wrong. For a while I did feel that way because I was new and I was looking at job prospects and I felt like I would have to, you know, throw away a part of my identity just to fit in. The kids actually did have a few questions. They asked me sometimes, you know, why I changed my scarf so often and how many do I have, and just innocent questions because they're really small children. And some of them even asked me why I wore it. I talked to them. You know, one of the classes, I gave 5 minutes to just having a healthy conversation with them and answering whatever questions that they had. And that was that. They just needed somebody to answer a few questions and they didn't bother me again. Neither did the parents. You know, they never came up to me to ask me, you know, or tell me that the cloth on your forehead is hindering with your ability to get to our students.
A lot of people just say, oh, internships in India are of no value and you're just going to be doing odd jobs for a manager. And I wish that you would actually be able to learn about the profession that you're going into rather than just having that little name of the company on your resume.
I saw a sense of freedom and liberation that sort of transformed me a lot over there. I think in India, because of being conditioned through the levels of hierarchies, there's a fear of saying what you want to say, there's a fear of being creative, there's a fear of just voicing your thoughts.
I know you cannot completely do away with hierarchies in a work culture, I mean they're built on it, but the exploitation of power and authority, I think that's one of the biggest issues. And if you are then from a particular caste or class or a gender, etc., then you're just doubly oppressed, and that just translates into a really, really toxic work culture in certain places.
जितने भी लोगों को मैंने बोला, I told in my institute, I told my teacher, and they were also like, we cannot stop the students going for an internship in that organization, but what we can do is we can tell them that, you know, something has happened, you can go at your own risk. हम लोगों पे डाल रहे थे कि तुम लोग को करना है तो करो, हम लोग तो कुछ नहीं करने वाले. That guy who did this to me is working in that organization still.
I should feel safe enough to approach my HR manager or approach someone else that, hey, X thing happened, I don't really feel comfortable, can you talk to my manager about it?
We are becoming more inclusive, but we still have a very long way to go.
We live in 2019 where this has to change and society has to change.